Never know.
Okay. I hit the button.
Cool.
Thanks, Dory.
Can I see my channel, please? There we go. Can I see my channel, please? There we go.
Oh,
All right,
Gil,
we're live.
Gil,
Nice.
please don't do that.
Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Kindred Talks. So
How's it
we've
going,
obviously been
Charlie?
chatting for- Pardon?
Oh, how's it going?
Yeah, good. We have been chatting for a little bit. We didn't get distracted at all, I swear.
Don't worry.
So today, as usual, we got the lovely Andrew
Uh,
and Rob.
Hi.
And today, the first time ever, we got a special appearance from GymLeaderEd.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So how's everyone been?
Oh, pretty good.
you know.
Last 2 days especially have been
Defeated,
very good.
coding, game.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
And
And as always, if any of us are too loud, too quiet, whatever, let us know.
just shout a crank and we'll sort something out.
Yeah, we got Crank looking over for all the names in the chat again.
Yeah, Crank is here, don't worry. Don't worry, Yoshi.
As if Crank would let us go without him.
I don't know that we can function without Crank.
I don't think we can. I think this whole company would fall apart.
My Discord would fall apart in a second.
Yeah.
SM Crank when?
Oh no, it's Gym Leader Crank currently.
SM GymLeader Crank when?
SM Gym Leader Crank.
Okay, so should we
Yeah.
get down to the nitty gritty?
Yeah, definitely. So it's been a while since we did the last Kindred Talks, and obviously we got a bit of a special guest today. Skymill, do you have a particular preference on if you want to talk to GymLeaderEd, get a few questions there first, or start with yourselves?
I don't know.
Well, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that Ed's got. I'm sure Andrew and I will fight for the first response on it. And
I'm sure we'll just fight.
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
just battle that out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I have a question that a lot of people have been trying to figure out, and I think this would be a really sort of interesting topic to talk about. Now, so we'll start with Andrew.
Okay.
So, what's your social security number?
Ooh.
This is something we were going over in the
Pre-stream.
free meeting. Yeah. It's actually really hard not to start asking questions in the 15 minutes or so before we went live. We had to save it all for the stream.
It is. And we always get so many questions as well.
Oh, yeah.
We actually had to limit the Skymill questions because of backlog as well.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys love questions.
Well, yeah. At first you thought it was only going to be Andrew joining us today, and we found out Rob was here, so we got to add a few more in.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
we?
funny how that works.
I'll probably be here for all of them, honestly, unless something really big comes up.
Oh, Yoshi's requested a fight for the new CEO position.
I'm already the new CEO. You drew me the crown and everything.
That is true, Yoshi. You can't have it. Can't have it both ways.
Usurper Andrew.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah, definitely. So the first question we've got from the group is, what Easter eggs would Skymill like to add to the game?
Ooh.
Or is there any that you would like to add but might not be able to?
Well, there's definitely some Easter eggs that we have in mind. If we told them to you, of course, they wouldn't be Easter eggs. But there is this concept of the OFSIC hierarchy of originality. And it's got 8 layers to it. And they basically describe the different amount of references that a work can make to other works. And we're looking at aiming for about maybe the third to highest level. The highest level being that the author's work doesn't contain any content that shares any resemblance whatsoever to any content created by anyone else. And the lowest level would be just abject plagiarism.
Hmm.
So
And
the
as
Lost
you-
and Found.
Yeah, so you can expect some references.
Nice. I know there's already a lot that the community are already pushing on you guys. Like a Longburn skin has been requested.
That was kind of me. I do apologize.
Yeah.
I think the clowns on the mountain kind of have to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's
The-
not clowns on the mountain, I think a lot of people are going to be upset.
I'm
There's a
gonna be
lot of it.
upset.
The Longburn skin, you guys would have to script a special hitbox for it. Otherwise, like it would go through certain attacks.
It's
Well,
like
that's very true.
that could be our missing no.
I mean, that's just extra fun, though, right?
Yeah.
The chat really wants the clowns, by the way.
Clowns have to happen.
Well,
I'm
good
just
for
waiting for
chat.
someone to get...
The clowns and Longburn will be, 3 of the characters you can play in the upcoming alpha.
Yep.
I'm just hoping that we get like a legitimate Longburn glitch in the game, and then no one can actually attack it because its hitbox is just all over the place.
Ooh.
People are just getting swept by this Longburn.
Only while it's aiming. I think it would still technically have a hitbox at its base. It just stretched the skeleton of it out.
Which
There you
is
go,
even
guys.
more
This is Long-
horrifying.
Yeah.
Long
That's game
Longbourn's
development
weakness
for
is
you.
the base.
And a dodgy guy that sells ash.
Oof.
That's what we've had from Priest.
Mm.
Okay, so
Yeah, people are saying love for the Bork squad. You can add the Borks. Could be an Easter egg.
we love
Oh yeah,
You guys already
Very
got a
true.
full game.
we have.
Hey, that's true. When's Kindred Fates 2 coming out?
Ooh.
2. Oh man, but I don't think anybody's beat the first one yet.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. You're gonna get everyone annoyed.
Oh, definitely. And I can imagine as well, because I know you guys wanted to get into the community modding scene if possible. I can tell that's going to be one of the first things that's done.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's something we've been talking about lately. Is what we could do to maybe make that a little bit easier on people. Since we know that whether we support it or not, somebody is going to start modding it. It's just sort of inevitable.
Yep.
But yeah, it could be cool to maybe if there's a way to include custom kinfolk or making that a little easier on
Even just
people.
like mod tools, like Bethesda has a mod kit, right?
Well, you got
Yeah.
Steam Workshop technically.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, like a
I,
So
I can already see it. People are gonna mod it so like you can literally like I can already imagine just people modding it so that there's like they make quote unquote kinfolks, but they're all from like the different monster taming games.
yeah.
oh yeah, easy.
Oh, that'd be nuts.
Shrek and everything.
Oh,
else.
Shrek, yeah, Shrek,
Yeah.
Shrek confirmed.
Thomas, yeah.
Shrek burn. There we go.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
Steve.
Literally get rid of all the kinfolk, just the original 151, and it's just Pokemon.
Fair enough. So, speaking of that, we got a bit of a related question here, and this one's for everyone, so you included, Ed.
Yay.
What are some of your favorite monsters in things like from every genre that you can think of on the top of your head, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, Monster Hunter, Yokai Watch? Have you got any particular favorites from the other monster catchers in the genre?
I mean, my favorite Pokemon's probably Dragonite, but that's more of like a nostalgia thing than like a design thing.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about battling, it's definitely Chansey with Eviolite.
Same. Let's see, for me, I mean, I've always been a really big fan of Typhlosion.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, just the whole Cyndaquil line really is really good. Yeah. Outside of like monster taming stuff, I think mimics are really cool.
From Dark Souls? Hell yeah.
Just anything really. Like, there's so much you can do with the idea of a mimic. Like Prey has them. They do some really cool stuff there. Dark Souls, of course, are really fun.
Actually, Cerulum. Well, I don't know about the newest one, but Cerulum 2 has mimics. You run into a chest now and then, and it'll attack you.
That's good stuff.
I'm hoping
So-
we get some Kindred, to be honest. It's been a fan favorite for a while.
Yeah, we've seen a couple requests for that.
Yep.
Yep,
What
I think there's been like 3 or 4 kinfakes suggesting different ideas for mimics, haven't there?
Yeah.
There was one that had like Auburn as sort of a stuffed animal, with the mimic like climbing out of its
First
back.
Kinfolk of the week, wasn't it?
I think
Boopet?
so.
I think, yeah, Boopet was the first Kindred of the week, so.
Yeah. There was one that was like a lantern that mimics the dropped soul or the
Uh-huh.
flame. So you
Yeah,
go to
there's
like
value.
pick up the flame of your kinfolk after it dies, and then you get hit by a mimic.
I think there was a few
Alright.
based on the Kinfolk flame.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So what about you, Andrew? Do you have a favorite monster?
Yeah, so I'm gonna not go the Pokemon route. And I think like Ed said, nostalgia definitely tells me to say Omnimon, or I guess as it's called in Japan,
Oh, yeah.
Omegamon.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that and that movie is so nostalgic for me, and I mention that like every time. But yeah, that and then Metal Garurumon, especially with the way they animate him in the movie when he's
Yeah.
fighting Diaboromon for the first time,
Yep.
and he launches all those missiles. That gives me chills every single time. Oh my gosh.
So, something interesting about that movie that I didn't actually know until recently is that movie's actually cut from like 3 different. Well, I don't know
Yeah,
if it's 3, but yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yes,
actually
it is.
it's actually cuts. Like the last part with like the Digidestin when they're little,
Yeah.
when it's like the second season people.
Uh-huh.
That's like completely cut from like a different movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
That always confused me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's
I was surprised by it. Like apparently they cut like a crap, like basically half the movie's cut out.
yeah, I believe it's like you said, 3 different movies. The first one was only like 20 minutes long or something, and it was
Yeah.
When
the
they're
part where
kids.
they're all like really little.
Yeah.
And then they had another one that was
Like the main
Gen 1 guys.
Yeah, the main part of the
And then
movie.
Gen 2. Yeah.
What were we
It's
talking
a
about
fantastic
again?
movie. I still like it now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's a big question, though. Are you a fan of the Japanese version of the movie or the English one? I know that causes some huge debate.
I grew up
Well-
only hearing the English dubs, so I can't go to the subs. I'm not a huge anime guy, but every time I try and watch dubs, obviously it's awful. But I don't know. Those voice actors, I think, do a really good job.
The Japanese version of that movie is just really strange. That particular scene that you're on about with Omnimon,
Uh-huh.
whereas we have this epic music, like the hero music in the
Yeah.
English, they get this intense orchestral theme.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? I think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's literally like a choir, and like because the whole
Wow.
thing.
Yeah, it
He's
sounds.
meant to be this superhero in the English, but in the Japanese one, he's a savior. So you get all this holy music.
Yeah,
It's deadly quiet.
it
while he's
reminds
fighting his Pokemon.
it reminds me of the Cube Angel from Evangelion. That fight. We got like the
Huh.
choir. Yeah.
That's cool. I should look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely when you have time. Anyway, I went
Yeah.
way off topic there, but I just thought I'd
No, you're good.
let you guys know about that one.
Next question.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to bounce back to Ed for a bit, just so we're sharing the time out equally. And we obviously don't want to leave Ed sitting on the side while we get through Skymill.
Sure.
So, first off, obviously, you've just reached 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thanks, guys.
What made you get into making videos on YouTube, and how long have you, like, since you started, how long did it take you to get to 1,000 subscribers?
Well, actually, I made my channel in like 2009, but it was like that was just the inception of it. I didn't really upload anything. But I got kind of into it back when Pokemon X and Y leaks were coming out.
Oh, yeah.
What it was for a lot of for me, like I'd watch a lot of videos that would go over like speculation and stuff, like, oh, these leaks might be fake, but they might be real, so it's kind of interesting to look at, and that was the kind of stuff I like to watch. And then I always felt like whenever I was watching a video, maybe someone wasn't saying something that I would have said or I wanted to say. So I just eventually decided, like, with my Windows Movie Maker and my like terrible computer at the time, I was like, I'll start making videos about it. And they were completely 100% unscripted and everything. They're like, looking back on them, they're pretty terrible. But yeah, and then when after X and Y came out, I kind of stopped, and then I started uploading again in 2019 because I was working on a ROM hack for Pokemon, and
cool.
I was
Which
just
one?
it's called Pokemon Pulsar. There's only 2 badges right now. It's not done or anything.
Okay.
But I was working on that, so like I started uploading just little snippets of what was going on, like little trailers and stuff. And then I kind of stopped again, and then I started like recently this year because of all this monster taming stuff that's been going on.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Andrew and I, as we said earlier, we really like your videos, and we're honestly surprised that you only had 1,000. I think the content of what you put out is much higher than what the sub count would say. Something that I've talked about with like Tori before is whenever I hear like that music come on, the intro music, and like hear you start talking about something,
Yeah.
literally the first thought that comes into my head is like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
whenever I see the thumbnail in like either in the fan video section or in like just while like in recommended while I'm going through YouTube, I'm like, rubbing my hands together like, oh boy.
Yeah, I feel like
soon.
the videos that Ed puts out are like some of the most in-depth like analysis of what's going on with
Yep.
Kindred Fates. So even if you're not a really active member of the Discord, or like you enjoy getting news in like a video format as opposed to reading it on the website or something like that,
Yeah.
like you do a really good job with like diving into even some of the deeper stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when I saw you made a story video, I was like, oh no. He has nothing to go on.
That's another part of it too, is like even with how quiet we are about a lot of stuff, you managed to put together some really interesting videos.
The progress boards, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I would say I love how you said that, like you're not to blame for things being quiet on the terms of spoilers, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great to see not just Kindred grow, but obviously Ed's channel as well. And like you said, the content is not only consistent, but it keeps everyone up to date on everything. So even if you're not part of the Discord, you can just follow it by the videos if you want to, which I think is great.
And unless you meet him, which you just throw loads of info at Ed, and he's like, "Oh, thanks."
Hey Ed, I got something for you.
Oh.
That's usually how I start them as well.
Yeah, Crank is everywhere.
Yeah, usually I'll wake up and I just see like Crank in my Discord. Hey, got something. What?
So what got you into Kindred Fates then, Ed? Was it anything in particular that you saw, or?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny how it all came together. So this story is gonna sound kind of like it's plagiarized from Mayu's story, but it's kind of like like when I heard her story of how she got into Kindred Fates, it was almost exactly the same as mine. I remember I posted in the chat. I was like, "What the heck?" Like, basically, I saw this video late last year, early this year. I can't remember, but I saw this video that was like top 10 Pokemon like indie titles coming out or upcoming or whatever. And in the video, there were like a lot of them looked cool, but there were 4 games specifically that I was really interested in. There were Kindred Fates or Kindred, I think it was just called at the time.
Yep.
Temtem, Monster Crown, and Koromon. So when I saw those games, I was like, oh, these are kind of cool. But at the time, Kindred was just a pre-alpha, like this before the Kickstarter and stuff.
Yep.
So I kept it kind of in the back of my mind. And then I started doing Temtem stuff because I was kind of disappointed with the direction Pokemon was going. I felt it was going in a direction that was sort of separate from what I enjoy. So I started doing like Temtem stuff, and then the Kindred Fates Kickstarter launched. And I was like, ooh, and that's kind of when I started making videos about it.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's great.
It feels like so long ago now since the Kickstarter.
3 months since that ended.
How long do we have left to go? 3 years? Oh boy.
Quarter of a year down, guys.
Yeah, oh boy.
Let's go.
Well, we'll have something playable, relatively soon.
We actually have the Ploxmons dev in the Twitch chat. We have a
Hey, Mitchell, what's up? Or Michael.
Mitchell?
Ooh.
And just to add on to that one, Ed, the person who asked about how you got into Kindred Fates also wanted to say, I hope you feel some pride in providing videos like this for the growing community.
Oh, thank you. I do for sure. Like, it's honestly like, I only do videos about stuff I'm particularly passionate about. Like if I don't think something looks interesting, I won't talk about it because I don't like. one of the things I've wanted to do with my channel is not be that YouTuber that goes, "Hey, guys, how you doing today? This is so amazing. This is so fun." Like I try not to be fake in my videos. I just talk like if something's interesting to me, I'll talk about it. I'm not gonna like just say like I'm gonna use this game as an example, not to say anything bad about this game, but there's a game, another monster taming game called, I think it's called like Ooblets or something.
Oh yeah.
And the monsters, they dance against each other. That personally, I don't find it interesting. So that's why I don't do deep dives about it. Like I might say something about it in like a news segment or something, but basically, unless a game is interesting to me, I won't talk about it. So I think that's why maybe I go more in depth on like Kindred Fates and Koromon and Temtem and stuff, because I really like these games.
Mhm.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we're glad that we can make something that people are really interested in.
Yeah.
Definitely, and that ties into another one we've had. People are asking, what was it you liked exactly about Kindred Fates? What drew you in?
Honestly, like the very first thing was some of the monster designs.
Oh, thank you.
It's very rare that I find a game where I like one thing I was worried about was if you guys asked me which one I don't like, because there's not a single design that and I'm not just saying that because like there's Pokemon that I think are just absolute garbage. There's even Temtem. There's Temtem that I think look like terrible, but I can't find a design, a Kinfolk, that I don't like. Even the two hidden like the shark you can't really see, but even the scarecrow looking Kinfolk, the hidden one, like even that looks cool. So
he's in the oven.
Big thing was the design, and it sort of reminded me of Dark Souls, which is one of my favorite game franchises outside of monster taming.
Yeah, that's something that we spent a ton of time on. Still continue to spend a ton of time on, but especially like, not even really especially, but in the beginning, it was something that we decided that we were going to make a priority above pretty much everything else. Is that the designs needed to be good?
Yeah,
because like you said, there's a lot of other games. They look mechanically interesting, but it's hard to get into it if the designs don't look really cool.
Some of them seem intentional too. Like, why does Gallade have that little circle around her stomach? That doesn't make any sense. It just looks bad.
If I'm allowed to, I could definitely have a TED talk about designs in Pokemon and stuff, but I don't know that I should.
Nope, we shouldn't.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a fan of the more simplistic yet like I don't even know how to explain it, but they're more simplistic, but they're also like designed well. I'm not an artsy person, so I can't really explain it, but they're not overtly complicated, but they're also not too simplistic. I don't know how to understand it, but it makes them more memorable.
Gen 1 versus Gen 4.
Strong silhouettes make a big difference for sure. Limiting your color palette. There's all kinds of stuff, but it is tricky because at the end of the day, designs are always going to be subjective, and so I guess it's just a matter of finding, like honing in on what it is that you want to create and creating that consistently. I think we have a pretty good idea of what that looks like for the characters in our game.
Yeah, and a huge thank you to Don Pablo and the other concept artist. I can never remember their name, for doing such a good job with that as well.
That would be Mats.
Mats, that's right.
Really good CEO.
Only the best.
I never really communicate with the artists, so
this is true. I do sort of hoard them away.
Yeah.
Rob has the artist under lock and key.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason for me to talk to the artists, so. Although I would love to have all of you on this stream at some point if any of you want to join.
Yes, Trainer Mats, and Don Pablo and 50 Shades of Helioisk are the three main. Yeah, those are the three main character concept artists for our game. And also, one of the original K-Knight and Auburn concepts were created by Alex Fictus.
Those are the first concepts that we ever had, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Back when the game was intended to be a tabletop game.
Also a small dev project for me to just sort of, do and never publish.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
There were several,
weird
stages.
iterations.
Yeah, there were several stages of Kindred Fates that were, looking back, recognizable as Kindred Fates, but at the time were not. it wasn't. There was never a plan for this during those phases.
No.
It was only really once we started. I think it was after you and I had like a working concept for the basis of like the monster character controller and switching back and forth between a monster and a player. And we started on a GDD after that, and it got pretty real.
Ooh boy, yeah, it did. What was the original question? I feel like we've gotten really far away from it.
Oh, it was what drew me to Kindred Fates, I think.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we totally screwed that up.
I have to agree with the designs, though. I think that they have that older feel where they take a lot of inspiration from real life animals and things. It gives people the ability to connect to them more than if they was more abstract and colorful.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure.
It's great. I'm in the same boat. I gotta say though, I could not pick a team. I'm still struggling, and we haven't even seen the full roster of Kinfolk yet.
You won't have to worry about that for a long time, thankfully.
I'm glad that people like them. It's definitely something that we look at, and every tiny piece we get so critical about. So it's something that we try really hard on, and I'm glad that
You want to
comes
rant
out.
about Royal Mechid for an hour and a half?
I really don't. I won't do that. In fact.
We've got a few questions here as well about the Kinfolk and some things that we've already asked before, but obviously things are always changing at the moment, so a refresh is never bad.
Oh yeah.
So, we've got a question here. Will the same Kinfolk vary in size? Now, I think we've heard this one before, but I will let Rob answer in case something has changed.
Oh sure. And yeah, there is. I can give a little bit more info on this now. So we do plan on having size variation. For example, you could find an Ember that's just a little bit shorter than your player character, and then find another one that's like another head taller than you or something. Or so there's a decent amount of fluctuation in size, enough that it would definitely be noticeable. Now, the natural question that comes from that is, okay, so what does that mean for competitive? Are the hitboxes going to change sizes with them? Is there going to be a way to compensate for a larger hitbox on a larger character? Do they get more armor, more health, stuff like that? And so what we're thinking right now is we do still really want to do that size variation, because I think that's cool. But to keep things like consistent and competitive and things like that, we'll have a standard size that we could use for competitive. So if you bring your Goliath scale Ember into competitive, he'll just be set to the standard size for that battle. Is what we're thinking right now. Anyway,
Yeah, always subject to change. We haven't even started on those systems yet, so.
Yeah, we're really not there yet, but that's what we're thinking about right now.
Yep.
It makes sense. I mean, a lot of people are concerned that Kadoki would just be invisible.
Oh, sure. No, we made sure that actually that's something that it was a concern when we started designing him. Tori was very much pulling for Kadoki being actually acorn sized. She absolutely wanted him to like sit on the player's shoulder and that kind of thing. Only after shrinking Kadoki down to actual acorn size and having him playable, yet beneath the grass, was able to convince her that maybe we needed to make him at least taller than the grass.
That'd be awesome.
She has responded. She said, "Precious tiny baby that rides on your shoulder."
Yeah.
I mean, from what we've seen so far, he should still be able to ride on the character's shoulder, depending on size. So
On the head.
Oh yeah.
Top of the head.
Piggyback the shoulders.
Yeah. So we definitely have. There's a pretty clear line for the minimum size, because we know we want all the characters to at least be taller than the grass. The maximum size is still a little bit up in the air. There's some things we can think of that, like we could see a large character model getting in the way or starting to cause problems with, but it's also one of those things that we can think of how we would solve that too. So we just need to get a little further in development before we have a clear picture of just how big we can make something.
Bakinawa is currently the largest, right? Currently the
Yep.
largest design? Okay.
He's about as big as a school bus,
Okay.
and no problems so far.
Back in now the school bus.
Because I know there's
Yeah.
another being concepted right now on the progress board that might cause problems with that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that one is much bigger.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But it's not
So-
like, okay, yeah.
We'll see what happens though.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to try him out.
Yeah, being in concept, that could change.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that there were plans for like overworld puzzles and environmental obstacles that the Kinfolk could help with, so size could play into that as well.
Mhm.
I think that could be quite interesting, leading a larger Kinfolk to clear large areas or a smaller Kinfolk to get through a certain section that you couldn't reach.
Kadoki
Oh,
sneaks
absolutely.
through the vents.
Oh, that'd be really cool, actually. The small, like you can have your Kadoki like go through a little tunnel or something to pick up like some loot or something like that.
Mission Impossible down from the ceiling.
Like one of those sequences from Ratchet and Clank where you have to.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's actually what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cute, just having them unlock doors for you or help you get through dungeons.
Let's
Right.
just write that down really quick.
Book is out, warning everyone.
Another one that was asked before is how big is Hinterlock? I know there was a little bit of confusion last time, and things may have changed since.
Yes. Oh man. So I and I'm to blame honestly for that confusion. There was a time where I got really into trying to figure out the exact scale of it, and I created all these size comparison pictures where I would zoom all the way out on the in-game map and like take a picture of it, and I made tally marks that were each like hundreds of feet long or something, so that I could see just how many squares of like kilometers it was. And then I would go to pictures of other games maps that also had scales on them, like Skyrim's map or GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption, and go into like Paint or something, change the opacity, and try and line them up so that they would be accurate. And it is really hard to find reliable information on that. If you look up how big like Skyrim's map is, for example, it's tricky to find a clear answer, or like an official answer. So there's a decent amount of fluctuation there between how big people say it really is. And so I did the same thing for Breath of the Wild, and that's what really threw it off. Is somehow I stumbled into somebody claiming that Breath of the Wild was far smaller, far smaller than what it actually is. And so when I used Kindred Face to compare against that, it was, I think someone even said that it made our map like as big as Wyoming or something like that.
I remember seeing
Some-
that, yeah.
Some unbelievable size.
Yeah.
The actual answer is right now, Hinterlock is 37.5 square kilometers, and it's at about half scale. We just recently implemented a technology that allows us to change the terrain, craft terrain, sculpt it in different ways. And we're going to do some tests and see how the scale feels, but we have the ability to go up to like a 1-to-1 scale, and at that it would be 150 square kilometers.
Huh.
Yeah. So we can really easily just like drop some characters in there, see how that size feels. Obviously, we don't want things to be like really sparse. There should be plenty to do and to run into. We don't want the world to feel empty. But yeah, we're gonna try it out at a couple different scales and see what feels right. But we're thinking somewhere probably between that range.
Yeah, well, when we first came up with the idea for the world map, it was like literally just 1-to-1, like a square cutout of Interlaken. And it sounds like it's gotten bigger than that.
No. 150 square kilometers is 1-to-1 for that area.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we were measuring it in miles. That's where I got confused. Okay.
Yeah. I forget what the number is for miles. I just did the kilometer conversion
Okay.
instead. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
you
it
get
could,
kilometers are easier.
Yeah, they are.
that's fair. So it could change then, but you guys have a better idea of things now.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Definitely.
Next question.
Yep. And how's the chat doing? Have we got any questions in chat or?
Well, we'll give them a few minutes if you want to get some questions in, guys, and we'll get on to one more question before we jump to you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Another recap style question we got is how many Kinfolk types will there be on release? Because we currently have 9, I believe, at the moment.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Are there-
so... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering, are there plans to add more or less?
Nope.
Or...
Yep. So
Still
we don't
none.
plan on adding any more types.
Yep.
When Andrew and I first designed the types, we thought really hard about the types that are in various different monster catching, monster taming games, and which ones felt superfluous. And
Yeah.
we tried to condense those down as best we could without losing anything.
Yeah.
And this is what we landed on.
Yeah, like we consolidated like electric and steel, became mecha.
But they also it also went into light too.
Yeah, and air.
Yeah. And air.
Yeah.
That's one of the things is there were some types that it's cool that it works as a type in other places, but it also just kind of works as a concept in a bunch of different places.
Mhm.
And so it felt like it would be easy to just say, okay, well there is no bug type. You can have any kind of bug.
Yeah.
Like you could have a mecha bug, you could have a fire bug, water bug, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 of the most contested ones were one you mentioned, which was electric, and the other one was ice, because we got all these snowy mountains, but there's no
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
ice type.
Yeah, it's
For sure.
it'd just be most likely grouped into like water or if you had like a refrigerator kinfolk or something,
Oh no.
obviously.
guys.
Yeah. We're not
How many
making
we-
a refrigerator.
How many have we revealed so far? Was it like 16 or something?
Is it really
So
that
the other,
many?
I think so. The other 140 or so, those are all going to be appliances.
We're literally just gonna go to IKEA and Sears and all those stores. We're just gonna walk down the aisle, make notes.
Mostly when we look to design new kinfolk, I just kind of get into that drawer, the one in your kitchen, that's just full of whatever.
Yeah, miscellaneous
And we just
crap.
we just go through that and just start drawing faces on them.
Yeah.
And then we send those to the concept artists and we lose a lot of good concept artists that way.
Yeah.
There's 17 kinfolk. 12 of them are the named. 12 of them are named. The other ones are non-named, and then there's the two. There's the two that we just saw in the trailer that are kind of hidden.
Ah, yeah.
Fire shark.
It is. It's tricky to hold the ones back that we're
Yeah.
really proud of.
I'm very proud
we
of
get some new
Sweet.
concept, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I love this. I really want to share this.
I mean, we're very proud of every single one that we have right now.
Yeah, but then you have a new one that like just gets done. It's like hot off the press. So
So I
all
got
in good
Jeanette in
time.
chat asking if you could share some leaks.
LEEKS.
Oh no. Well, we're gonna have
Gardening.
probably a cook. We'll do a cooking stream eventually.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Crank on pizza?
I can hear Gil in the background and Barry now.
Yeah.
Dream.
Crank
No.
the cabbage making pizza?
No. No. I haven't really had any questions from the guys in the chat at the moment, so we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, they're all
Sure.
listening intently.
Yeah. Somebody asked, will there be any, or what will the lore be behind the legendaries? And we're not gonna say that.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, we can't say story stuff.
Spoilers.
Yep.
Rob is-
You guys can watch my lore video.
This is very true. He did he did
Yeah.
a great lore video on it.
Yeah.
It's probably wrong, but
We drop little breadcrumbs every now and again for people to.
Breadcrumbs.
I don't even
Process
think
over.
we can make a lore video.
Shovelback is a big breadcrumb. He's a good boy.
He is a
I'm
good
just
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like I'm a human vacuum. I'm just sucking those breadcrumbs up like, give me more.
Yep.
yeah.
They're around.
Yeah.
Ed loves bread.
That's good.
So going back to Hinchlock again, someone's asked, will there be environmental spaces and will they change with time? I think that means an active weather system, perhaps?
Yes.
Oh, sure, yeah. So there'll be a bunch of different biomes. I forget how many exactly. We did list it out. Like hesitant to say the actual number. I think
Yeah.
I think the plan is 8, but I don't remember. It might
But-
be a couple more.
But it's not going to be like, desert, like jungle, moon, it's going to
Yeah.
make sense for the region.
Yeah.
Moon.
But we do have different biomes planned, and we showed off like a couple different ones in the Kickstarter trailer, and then another one in a few in the environment trailer or the pre-alpha trailer one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people were excited about the underwater exploration and the cities because
Uh-huh.
obviously Kindred Fates is going to be quite a modern game, but from what we've seen so far, we haven't seen like the modern vehicles or the big towering cities. It all looks
Right.
all fantasy at the moment, so we're excited to see that.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's something that Andrew has to constantly. We keep each other in check, and
do.
I have a tendency to steer towards the fantasy side of things,
So does
and Andrew has
Tori.
Yeah, it's true. And Andrew has a tendency to steer much more into the like modern side of things. So yeah, you can expect a lot more modern stuff.
Yeah.
For the Kickstarter trailer, we only had so much to work with, and
Yeah.
it's just all we were able to really show. But we did
Yeah.
try to drop some of that stuff in there. Like you can see there's power lines and stuff in the trailer.
Fun fact, I think Kindred Fates was going to be a like medieval times high fantasy setting until I fought them for weeks to make it not.
Actually, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Had Andrew not like really convinced
Really, yeah.
Tori and I over the course of probably a week,
Yep.
we were thinking that it would be more interesting to take it into kind of a high fantasy sort of direction because there weren't any monster taming games that were doing that.
Yeah. The whole the campsite system was going to be these like travel runes. It was all like super high fantasy.
Yeah, it was very high fantasy.
Ugh.
We've got a question in the chat as well from Carstrick66 asking, how many kinfolk can be carried in your party at one time?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. So at the moment, the real true answer is 3, but we will probably have more. We haven't quite got to the point where we're testing that out yet. I have a feeling that it's going to wind up being 4, but
Yeah,
we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I think we've talked about 4 a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 feels like a little too many. Just thinking about like what all we know can happen. But 4 feels like it will be reasonably comfortable, and I think 3 is just a little bit too few. But right now, we only have 3 slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people need to think too, like, since it's real time.
Yeah,
right?
battles
Like,
could go for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in Pokemon or Temtem, like you could potentially just one shot one of the person's things and it's out immediately. Whereas, like you could have 2 people just going at it.
Yeah.
Yep, it's very true.
Yeah, and it's more personal. Like the fewer that you have, it feels a lot more like companions and less like a army.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, especially in PvE, that makes it a lot more interesting because in most games they usually allow, I think 6 is the standard from what we've seen. And when that happens, if you try and go through a long dungeon or something that's meant to be a grind, you just use one till it runs out of HP or gets low, then you swap and you keep doing that, cycle through the 6.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got this expansive overworld and you've only got 3 kinfolk or 4 kinfolk, you have to really think about what you're doing.
Oh yeah, especially if they can die permanently.
Yeah, I think that's really going to help having fewer, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm down for that.
Auburn's like, please use somebody else. I'm in pain.
Yeah,
Actually, I kind of got a question. I don't know if you guys could answer this, but
probably
it has
not.
to do with the party. It has to do with the party thing.
Oh yeah.
Is there going to be like some type of PC box equivalent?
Oh, it's a great question. And yes, there will be some equivalent.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Nice and easy.
That's all I wanted to know. I figured there would be, but
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I could say more.
that's okay.
Yeah.
We were hanging on there, hoping for something to slip, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm sorry.
Jeanette has asked from the chat if there will be a photo mode available in the arena.
Ooh. Wait, in the
Photo
arena.
As he puts it, I want to look fabulous while running away from Crank in Alpha.
I'm guessing
Ah.
it'd be like a Smash Bros where you can take photos mid-fight.
Right, yeah. Well, out of the gate, we won't have a photo mode, but we're definitely going to be adding all kinds of stuff to the arena, like as we build stuff out. So photo mode not off the table, but probably not going to be there on release.
Understandable. Okay, so we'll jump back with Ed for a bit. Do you have a favorite fan Kindred design? So a Kinfolk.
So this one's kind of hard for me because there's so many good ones, and like obviously I can't include the ones that became official Kinfolk because it's not a Kinfake anymore.
Uh-huh.
But my favorite ones that I can think of off the top of my head, there's this drill butt design, and I don't remember who drew it, but it's really good. It's like a shovel butt evolution.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
all armor plated with the drills.
Yeah, it's really cool. It looks like maybe an Earth type with like a mecha lean or something.
Digmon?
Uh-huh.
And then actually for the cat contest, I really liked Charlion's design.
Oh, yeah.
The evolution tree. I like all of those cats. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I actually wasn't going to add to that, but I just thought I can try. I just tried to blag it off as a null because I thought I got this design anyway. I might as well.
We get
Let
so
that
many
head
cool
take it
Kinfolks.
seriously.
Yeah.
So? No, nothing really.
Fair enough. Do you have a favorite canon Kinfolk currently confirmed, Ed?
So this is another one that was hard. So as you guys can see, I'm a Castrix Bork.
Oh, yeah.
I do like Castrix. I think if I had to pick, I'd say Castrix is my favorite one. But like I said before, it's I'm very indecisive, and that's kind of my my downfall because like I like a lot of them. Like I really like for example, I like Castrix. I really like K-Knight's design. Skullkin I think has a really cool design.
Yeah.
Same with Deer Dog's another one of my favorites. Mech King, Salamurder, Shovelbutt. I don't know, it's hard. And even that Scarecrow thing is cool.
Just the entire KF roster.
Yeah.
Basically.
What's your favorite Kinfolk? Yes.
Yes. Is all of them an answer?
Yes, but also no.
We found that drill bit was the Kinfake drill bit was done by Chronic. So we're just gonna give a bit of credit Dave as well. So thank you,
nice.
Chronic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chronic. That was an awesome
Yeah,
design.
thanks. Good design, man.
So, you mentioned Castrix, and so I have to mention. I think probably my favorite video of yours is the one where you try and figure out where the names come from.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes there was a few of them, and I think Castrix was one of them, where you just like went way too far with it. And I think that was when me and Rob were actually together in person. We were watching that together when he came to visit me, and we were both just like, no, it's Ka, like the sound a crow makes. It's dumb. You're thinking about it too hard.
I felt so bad.
I literally said in that video too because I could not figure out what its name was. I was like, I'm sure there's some mythological creature, whatever. And within like an hour, someone's like, there's a bird called Strix. It's a mythological bird. I'm like, God darn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I literally said like it's probably super simple, but I was just going way above my head. And yeah, sure enough.
The sound a crow makes. Yeah, Tori says that's her favorite too.
I think I brought that up in like the hidden Kinfolk video.
You did correct
I was
it.
thinking about it. Yeah, I drive a bus for a living. I was like driving the bus, and I'm like, wait a second. Ka probably is just caca.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Uh,
long and short of it.
yeah.
I'm in the same boat. I thought it was Kynite, not K-Night for the longest time.
Like K9.
And I was like, what's
yeah.
the pun? I don't get this name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Canine and Ignite.
Yeah, I think I missed Ignite too. I missed Ignite on
Yeah.
K-Night.
And then Kadoki. I
one of
don't blame
the-
you for not getting Kadoki, because I had Tori explain it to me and I still didn't get it. So
That's okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one because in KF, some of them are pun names like Kynite, Castrix, but then
Auburn.
we have Kadoki and Bakianawa, which are like full Japanime versions of them.
yeah.
I actually got Bakianawa somehow. I don't remember how I got it, but I got it.
Yeah. I have been pushing for some like Latin or Greek names ever since the beginning, and
Most of them-
it does not look like I'm gonna get those.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I think most of them have like Latin roots, or we at least start with like a Latin root or Germanic root.
I don't know. Give me some Swahili. I don't know.
He does push that Swahili though.
I
and
do like the way Swahili sounds, but that's just
can't
me.
get on board with it.
Well, Bakianawa was based off of like Bacanawa, right? From the
Yeah.
Philippine mythology, the sea
Uh-huh.
serpent. Yeah,
Yep.
I thought that was pretty. That was a pretty cool. Like, I think I said in the video, like it's really cool that even just a code name has like such a like it has a really cool like back meaning to it.
I wish we
Yeah.
could take credit for that, but it's Don Pablo named that one. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we basically never a lot of the early ones we didn't come up with any code names for. We just started calling them things, and they sort of
Yeah.
stuck that way for a bit.
I think
so.
Auburn was Tory. It definitely sounds like a Tory.
I don't remember who named Auburn, but I do remember when we named Auburn.
Yeah.
It's a good name. It's a awe and then burn and then it also is Auburn. Like
Yeah.
it's a good. Yeah, it's a good name for sure.
It is a pun.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like a double factor because you got awe, you got burn, and then the word Auburn is its color.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
And how do you explain shovel butt to everyone and trying to get them away?
Oh, actually, we can explain that one. It was as simple as we had the concept for him finished, and then SM John came over and was helping us with some development stuff. And while he was there, I pulled up the concept art, and he went, "Oh, it's shovel butt." And I said, "Okay,
Well, it is now.
that's his code name now."
Oh,
There we go.
wow. John is a treasure.
John is a treasure.
I hope to get him on the next podcast. We'll see if we can weasel him on here.
Come on here.
Yeah, get as many of the devs in as we can at some point.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's my goal.
So, backing on from Ed's question earlier about the PC system, we've had a question on whether there'll be any potential repercussions for leaving Kinfolk in the quote-unquote PC for too long. Would it have any negative effects to the bond or to anything else?
All good questions.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Anyway, next
Man, I wish we
question.
could talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was from Chopper. Yeah, I saw that. I think I said I said Chopper. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting there with the lock and key again.
I mean, I wanna say something. I guess the truth is that it's just early. Most of the stuff that we're building right now is really foundational sort of things. So we have a lot of the conceptual stuff written out, but the finer details of it, not quite yet.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really give an answer on any of that kind of stuff when it's like speculation even from the people building it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be we wouldn't want to say something and then be like, oh well, we actually thought about it in earnest, in the frame of something that matters. Like, okay, we built out this system and now we know how it needs to interact with that thing that we said on a stream one time.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
In case you guys don't know,
Yeah,
game dev is hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it kind of ties back to the Kickstarter as well, when all the additional stretch goals are being added. It's like you don't want to promise any more than you can
Oh
give.
yeah.
It's true.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
We did actually just get a question in chat. Hopefully it's really quick. I know a lot of people backed on the Kickstarter. just bought copies of the game. I'm curious how many approximately copies of the game have been bought.
Ooh.
Do we know that?
Well, let's see. I think we usually estimate around 12,000 copies.
Is that current
Within
though?
the last within the last month or so, it's about 12,000, I think.
Huh.
According to
Unless
Guild, that's
it's-
9,000.
Because there were 11,000, like almost 12,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then about 100 of those were just like the $1 or like $15, whatever it was that was just below the getting a copy of the game.
Yeah.
And then we had we've had like a couple hundred since then, but not like thousands more since the Kickstarter.
I believe I'm one of them extra 100 now.
Yes, you are.
Oh yeah.
Yep, an extra copy for you. Okay, so a final one we got here for GymLeaderEd. It's going to be a role play question now.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
You are now known as SM GymLeaderEd. As part of the development team, what would be the first feature taken from any monster catching game that you've played that you would add to Kindred Fates, and why? And it can be a feature that's already announced for Kindred.
Ooh.
Okay, so actually, I have a pretty quick answer for this. Anybody that knows me knows that one of the things I really like about this game, Koromon, is that basically, okay, so in Pokemon, if you get a shiny, it rolls for the shiny, and then it rolls for each IV. For Temtem, it does the same thing, but then it guarantees you 3 perfect stats. But what Koromon does, and I'm not necessarily saying that Kindred Fates would need to have this, but they have 2 versions of the shiny. So there's what's called a potent, and it's basically it has like above average stats, and then there's what's called a perfect, and basically the roll for the the shiny roll is the stat roll. So finding a perfect, like let's say you get really lucky and you find a perfect Kinfolk, let's say it would just, because it's perfect, it's shiny.
Wow.
That would be that would be the feature I'd use, because
Be based
the
on
worst
skill.
thing in the world is when you find a shiny and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to agree. I love that about Koromon.
Yeah,
Huh.
like that. I was really surprised by that system, because it's just it's really good. Like, instead of rolling like your 1 in 8,000 chance with one separate roll and then rolling all the stats, it's just the stat roll is the shiny roll.
Yeah, it certainly simplifies
Yeah.
things in that regard too.
And that would
Yeah, everyone's
really
saying
easily.
Charlie's got her perfect.
Yeah, she's winning the Koromon game.
Yeah, I've been playing Koromon. I've hoarded a few perfects. I'm not sorry.
I thought we were talking
do
about
actually
Mishka.
Yeah,
That's
it is a
one
little
thing.
puppy.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying we are actually planning to get together, aren't we, and stream a little Koromon with the guys to do a perfect hunt.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little Koromon race at some point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I do think that's a really cool concept though, because like Ed said, there's nothing worse than finding a special,
1 IV,
yeah.
0 IV shiny.
yeah, a 1 in 8,000 chance, and then it's boxed for life because you really can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and somebody just said
That's one of the things that kind of sucks about developing a game 24/7 is you don't get to play as many games anymore. Like
Yeah.
I have yet to play a lot of the monster taming games that are out right now, and I won't say any specifically because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I haven't played your game, but I really want to play them. I just haven't had time.
I don't blame you, Rob. Honestly, there is so many that Ed's into
Yeah.
as well. It's-
Even me, I'm doing YouTube videos about a lot of these games, and I barely have time to play them.
Yeah, it's insane how big the genre is now getting from where it was probably a year ago even.
I think like I said this a few months ago, but I think we're like at the precipice of like this new sort of real, like a lot of, like 2 years ago, if you told me that there's games that are that like 2 years ago, if you told me there's a game where you catch and battle creatures, Pokemon. That's all that came to mind. The idea, even like when I first heard about Temtem, for example, my mind was just blown. I was like, wait, there's a game that's not Pokemon that's doing this?
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a big stigma around games that try to do this because like I remember growing up like on Facebook you'd see these ads for these like clearly ripped off games like
Yeah.
it literally has Pokemon in it but
Yes.
and the game sucked like
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
like just clearly just ripped off just for the they'd always get banned and sued by Nintendo and whatever but I think that gave people like a sort of bad impression on it and I think people need to kind of open their minds a little because just because you have monsters in a game doesn't mean the game is a rip off. Like
Yeah.
I said with first person shooters, like not every game's a rip off of GoldenEye just because it's a first person shooter.
You
Right.
made a video about that, didn't you, Ed? Kindred Fates is not a Pokemon clone.
And it was
Yeah,
very
it was
entertaining.
making me mad.
I think in part it's the natural progression of creating a new genre too.
Yeah.
Like when somebody creates a game that's not really like anything else, like Pokemon, then that's all there is. It's Pokemon. Well, Pokemon's an RPG, but there's nothing else that's quite like it. I mean, maybe you could say something like Fire Emblem because it's an RPG where you have a party system and you get to kind of choose your members a little bit. But I mean, not really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really its own thing. So when a genre emerges, I think naturally there has to be some amount of like, oh, well, you're ripping this off because there is no genre.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to compare it to other than that one other thing.
Well, that
I
happened.
think it's like with Dark Souls, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It happened the most,
Dark-
I think, with Minecraft. Like Minecraft came out, and it was like the only one for the
Yeah.
longest time. And then there was all these like knockoffs that were, pretty close, bar one or two details. And then I think the first one I can remember that came out was the like solo Fortnite game mode. Like back when
Oh, yeah.
Fortnite wasn't a battle royale, it was kind of the first one I saw that looked good as like the
It
same
wasn't-
kind of thing.
But Fortnite was never voxel based.
No, it
Like,
wasn't, but
There was,
it seemed to be the
for a
same kind
while-
of thing.
yeah, but like, yeah, I agree. I think that there's just a time period where until you get to that critical mass
Hmm.
of games that are alike enough but do their own thing, it just looks like people are knocking off of the
Like
original.
cashing in on a trend.
Yeah, and some do. Some are, like Ed was saying, literally just ripping off something that was unique and successful.
Yeah.
And that hurts the genre too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just takes time.
Yeah, it was something we were talking about over in, I think it was Ed's server just before the stream actually, about how there's no set genre for like monster catching on stream or on Steam or anything. Like
Yeah.
you can't search for it as a genre tag.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if they did, you might get like what, 5 results or so.
Not anymore.
That's
Way
true.
more come in now.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
these days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, even like there's new ones like there's this Cassette Beasts is the one that just got announced. Well, Monster Sanctuary's been around for a while, but that's another one that kind of just caught my attention.
Well, they need to get on that tag then.
We need
yeah,
to get
there's
on
a
that tag.
Cyrillum as well.
Cyrillum, yeah, Cyrillum's I actually downloaded the second one for my PS Vita because you can get 1 and 2 on the Vita. So I've been playing that. So that's kind of similar too. Like it's a monster taming game. It's a little bit different. Like the game is basically like there's not really an overworld. It's just like mostly randomly generated dungeons and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's more of like a looter type monster catching game.
Cool.
And then Monster Sanctuary as well as many others as well. There's so many coming
Yeah,
out.
they're really
so-
coming out at the moment. It's nice. It's nice to see the genre growing.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, I'll be talking about Kindred the most. Wink, wink.
Like, to drop. How
Actually,
easy it-
Kindred Fates is the one that I'm the most consistent with, I think.
You are, yeah.
You haven't got a choice. We patched
Always
it.
Saturday there's always a Kindred Fates video, and then like the newsletter weeks I do like the mini videos. That way I can kind of space out the longer ones that take more time.
Yeah, hopefully we give you enough content to work with. I don't want you to feel obligated to keep up with a pace if we just drip feed in the tiniest details every now and again.
I'm trying
I
to
still
open
got a few good ideas up my sleeve.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to open up the waterworks a little bit, but
Just the daily battles with Rob.
yeah.
Well, Rob hit me with that bamboozle there with the extended footage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I woke up to that. I was like, what?
Yeah, that
It was
was kind of a long time coming, but it was a weird sort of I don't know, discovery for me and the other people that were looking at the footage. It's like, well, there's where did the 10 minutes go?
Yeah.
But then when we broke it down, it was like, yeah, I mean they've basically seen all of this for the most part.
Yeah.
So
Priest
I
said
we
laser beam.
Yeah, laser beam was the first thing I noticed. That's why I said like, oh, there's new. I think I messaged you saying like, oh, there's a lot of new angles. One of them
Yeah.
I was talking about was him using the laser beam.
yeah, that was one that I was sad to cut, but it just had to be done to get the time that we needed. I mean, we had to keep the trailer as short as possible um, to appease the Kickstarter gods.
Which we never did actually appease, so.
We got as close as we could.
Yep.
I believe the recommended time was to keep it between 1:30 and 2:30.
No, I'm just talking about being on like the Kickstarter favorite picks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So we've got a question from Gil in the chat. They're asking if the Steam page for Kindred Fates is in the work to be created before the alpha gets here, or will it be sometime after?
Yes, there will be a Steam page for Kindred Fates before the alpha.
I'm wondering if that Steam page is actually why it doesn't show up in the YouTube library. Because I've been spamming YouTube to add it. Because even Cassette Beasts, they just announced it last week, and already when I make a video about them, I can select Cassette Beasts.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like anytime I do a Kindred Fates video, it just autofills to either Fire Emblem Fates or Pokemon Sword.
Huh. Yeah,
we
we
worked
can,
on it in the background.
Yeah, I've sent in a support ticket too.
Yeah, I put one in as well.
I've been a little bit hesitant to create the Steam page before we have, like, I don't know, a little more gameplay to show. 'Cause I didn't want people to like see it and think that they could get it right away. So I was a little hesitant about that.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want people to feel too baited by anything.
Yeah. Gotta love
Is
those.
it via Steam you guys are planning to release the alpha arena then, or?
Yes, that is the plan. We will obviously have like 3 different versions of the game that you can download on release, but for the alpha combat arena, it's just going to be on Steam. It makes networking on our end much easier,
Yeah.
like being able to add people to battles and that sort of thing.
And we've talked about giving the people who don't have a Steam copy a temporary Steam copy. Like if you got it on
Yeah.
Switch.
No, everybody who has a copy, everyone who has access to the alpha will have a copy of it on a copy of the alpha on Steam.
Yeah. We still don't have our Switch kit, our dev kit.
It's on the way.
Yeah, soon TM.
Soon
Yeah.
TM, yeah.
And I know there's been a ton of stuff happening lately. I know Andrew just bombed the progress board.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last 2 days especially have been really exciting. Like they've really validated the last month or so of work that we've been doing. A lot of it has to do with it sounds very simple, but it's like I said, we're working on foundational stuff, so it's incredibly important. The character controllers that we're working with right now, they need to be able to do a lot. We have so many different types of kinfolk, so many different body types, and managing and keeping track of all of that, not only locally, but being able to send that over a network for PvP and for co-op. It's a big task, and we finally, within the last 2 days or so, have those working to the point where they can reliably do that kind of thing. So it's looking much better than it was earlier.
Nice.
Nice.
So
Yes,
to clear up something that I'm seeing in the Twitch chat right now, just because I like made changes to the progress board doesn't mean that I actually completed those changes. I just like, and same with when Rob updates it too. I just like sort of check things off because we have like our internal giant board. So it's like we're taking, pieces from that and putting it on the progress board. So Just because
many
someone
boards.
updates it doesn't mean that that person actually did it.
Yeah, we actually have like what 6 boards or something.
I don't know. We just moved it over to another platform, so
It's true. Yeah.
that was a
There's
mess.
also a lot of organizational stuff that we do.
Yeah.
So like that takes time.
I can imagine so many tabs and emails and sites and progress boards
Oh
to go through.
boy.
Yeah. There's a lot of although a lot of those things don't take too much time. Most of the time goes into either meetings or like we have to plan this feature out or these series of features out really in depth because if we don't have very clear um, descriptions for the things that we're working on and we don't define them very clearly, it's the kind of thing that can come back and bite you later really bad, especially when you're working with networking.
Yeah.
So that co-op feature, that'll get you.
Yeah. Hello, Jarmy. Thank you for the nice compliment. Welcome to the stream.
That's the thing. It's nice to see how friendly and how supportive the community is here.
We got very
Absolutely.
lucky.
Yeah. Oh,
You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know,
The Kindred Fates community is great.
Yeah.
so is Ed's,
And-
to be fair. Both the communities are really sweet.
In all honesty, the monster taming like genre, at least the developers, they're all really great guys. I've spoken with like the project lead on Temtems, with um, Monster Sanctuary, and I don't think I've spoken with the guy behind Koromon, but many of the creators around the time that we were doing our Kickstarter, they're all really good people. So it's not
Platinum
unique to
Studios,
us.
Platinum Studios shout out as well. I still remember that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Tori said Monster Crown.
Monster Crown, yes. Oh man, the team behind that, I can't say enough good things about. They really helped us out tremendously. I'll always be thankful for that.
It's nice to see that the creators are coming together and helping each other out, though.
Yeah,
Normally, you'd expect like the typical rivalry or competition, but there's none
yeah,
of that.
that's
So nice.
yeah. I can safely say I haven't experienced any of that. Everyone has been very supportive.
Haven't experienced it yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even me being like a small YouTuber, like pretty like other than Temtem, pretty much every single game that I've made a video on, I've spoken to the developers of that game in some capacity. Like they came to me and said, "Oh, like we liked your video or whatever." Like
Yeah.
I was never really like that into like not that I wasn't into them, but I was just never that I never followed indie games that much before. But like after like following all these monster tamer games, like it's just it's nice to you feel like there's a less of a wall between you and the people you're
Yeah.
that are making your game. Like it's nice. I'm very surprised by how like great a lot of the developers have been.
Yeah, it's not like a corporate entity.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest compliments that people have had towards Skymill as a studio, to be honest, is how hands-on they are. And even after the Kickstarter, we still see Rob chatting with us. Like, there's still such a presence, and they still
Yeah.
keep up to date with everything. It's nice.
We certainly try whenever we can. I know I'm not around the Discord quite as much as I used to be, but
Understandable.
That's
Yeah,
my job now.
that's your job as much as you can.
Yeah.
We got this, Andrew. We got this.
Yeah.
To be fair, whenever you guys do come into the Discord, we usually end up just telling you to go to sleep anyway.
Yeah.
We don't like to do that.
Yeah. See, when we sleep, we're not making your game though.
Yeah. We don't get to sleep.
That's the tricky part.
But that's the community. We just
Yeah.
want you guys to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sage asks, what are your plans for Kindred Fates merchandise? We have talked so many times about wanting a Salamurder stress ball or plushie or something, so when you squeeze it, its inner mouth comes out. And
Oh.
that's going to happen because of how much we've talked about it. So
I mean, we're gonna try and make it happen.
yeah, I'm going to make it happen. I don't care.
There might only be one of them, and it might be like crocheted by Andrew.
With bloody
Oh, that's
fingers.
exciting, though.
Uh,
I actually think I had one of those when I was younger. They're like these little squidgy balls filled with water or something, and when you
Yeah.
squeeze the feed in the middle that pops out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's doable.
yeah, we've thought about like a couple different options. We're talking to different uh, merchandising companies at the moment. Like it would be cool to do T-shirts and posters and pins and all kinds of stuff, but
I
it's
mean, we've
hard to
already
say.
Skymill shirts, haven't we?
Oh, that's very true. Yeah.
If you guys start coming out with posters and plushies and stuff, the problem's gonna be that you're gonna run me dry of money. I'm gonna go broke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're not. That's merchandise is not a priority. Just so everyone knows, we're not like trying to sell you merchandise after you already pledged.
Yeah, we know there's people that like want that kind of stuff, and so
yeah.
we're looking into it because I mean I think it would be cool. I kind of want a little
Yeah,
like minifigure of K-Knight or something on my desk.
yeah.
I want a minifigure of Rob.
Yeah.
Good.
Uh,
On Lex.
But yeah, we're right now we're way more focused on just making sure that like we get the plushies out to everybody who backed, and
Yeah,
as far as merchandise is concerned.
The
But
flush-
after that we'll look into T-shirts and that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I know things, obviously, since the Kickstarter, it's been all go, and obviously the pandemic has changed things around for everybody at the moment, and it's ruined everyone's schedules, and things are a bit hectic at the moment. But how does it feel knowing that despite all this, you've got this community that is just so caring?
It's
Yeah, it's
I
so
mean,
nice.
a huge relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pandemic has only really affected the plushies. Like development has still, if
It's
anything, since we all work from home, it's like caused more work to happen.
I just remember that I think it was Rob perhaps said shortly after everything was announced of the lockdown that they've had to change all their meetings.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, the only
Just
thing,
like
yeah,
5 minutes.
it did affect GDC and E3, but other than that, no.
It's not been a problem so far. There's external stuff that like affected us like that, but it's
Not dev work.
other than that, yeah, the code base hasn't like fallen behind or anything because of that.
Yeah.
I know that there was talks about some of the gaming conventions potentially being rescheduled, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of them are trying to do like an online show. But
Were you guys still interested in trying to get in on some of those if they did reschedule or do it online or?
If it's safe, yeah, it would be cool. We don't want anybody getting sick, but
Can't make a game if we're dead.
pretty much.
Oh, definitely. I just know that there were. I think there was plans beforehand for you guys to try and attend one of them. If
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, we were going. We
Yeah,
had
there was a
everything
time-
planned for G3 and EDC, or E3 and GDC.
Yeah, we did. We had plans for both of those. I mean, yeah, I would like to go. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and it would give us a chance to show off more of what we have right now, a little bit easier. But
Yeah, it would give you guys more time to prepare if they did delay it to when everything was a bit safer.
yeah, I believe that GDC, at least for a time, was rescheduling in the summer. I don't know if that's still their plan or not. But yeah, if it's something that looks like it's not going to put any of us at risk, then we'll probably go for it.
Nice. That'd
But
be
we try to
interesting
be
for
pretty careful.
people who could attend.
Yeah.
If if everything was safe and like I'd honestly, like, if I could take days off, I'd honestly come drive down there. Like I'm just to the north, so
Oh, nice.
I'm in Canada, but if it takes me a few hours to get there, I'll do it.
Cool. We would love to like meet up with people. It's so fun to meet people in person after this.
Yeah, but you hate to show people your face, so.
Eh.
Yeah, definitely. We've had another question here, this time about the evolution of kinfolks. So
Oh,
we've
sure.
had someone ask, so can you give us some more clarity on the evolutions, such as when do they evolve, what sort of requirements could we expect, and who
Yeah.
designs the ARG games? Should we expect puzzles of that level of code breaking in the game, or more standard types of puzzles?
So for the evolution part, we stay relatively close to the stuff that's like established in the genre. So things like leveling up to evolve, things like maybe holding a specific item, and maybe that item is kind of hard to find, or maybe there's only one of that item. Then in one of our earlier pictures, we had an example of a kinfolk that could evolve once it got to a certain level and it knew a certain ability. That could be another case. Apart from that, we have some new additions that we want to throw in there, some new cases for evolution, but don't want to spoil anything. So, but yeah, look forward to some new evolution methods as well.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
The second
I
part
know-
was about the
yeah.
ARG games. Then, sorry, does anyone
Oh.
else have anything to add to that before I move on to the second bit?
I was just gonna say, I noticed in the Kickstarter trailer, Auburn evolves mid-battle before it KOs Skullkin. Do you guys have any information about that?
Yeah, sure. So that's the thing. You can evolve mid battle. Yeah,
So did it like gain experience before knocking out the Skullkin?
it did. Yeah.
Oh, so it gains it based on like damage output and stuff?
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't have to win a battle or get a kill or something. It's when you get a success on stuff.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so just by dodging hits and being good at what you do in the battle, you can gain the XP. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second part of the question was asking about the ARG games that we have in the Discord. They were asking who designs those, and should we expect that level of difficulty in the actual game, or will it be more standard puzzles in the game?
Well, SM Wicket is the designer behind the ARGs. Tori and I contribute to those sometimes, but he is like the mastermind behind all that stuff. He's also responsible for creating most of the puzzles in the main game. He's created a pretty big document for all that stuff and the different mechanics that we're looking at there. So with him being the designer on both of those things, yeah, you can expect them to be pretty. Well, they'll have the same mind behind them, so they'll probably be pretty difficult. The mechanics will be different for sure, though.
Now I'm just picturing when we get to a difficult puzzle in the game, everyone's like, right, check the airports.
Yeah. No, we won't be. It's fun to keep the two separate. Like there'll be plenty of in-game puzzles that
Yeah.
just all use the in-game puzzle mechanics. Then the ARGs are separate and fun for their own thing.
Oh yeah, the ARGs were fun for how difficult they were. People looking at like Google Maps and the airports.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
crazy.
There was a question about Switzerland biome and ecology. Yeah, the biome and ecology that we're looking at is the biome and ecology that's native to Switzerland.
Yep, and Tori is the one responsible for most of the ecology, if I remember
All
right.
of the ecology.
All the ecology.
She won't let anyone else touch it.
Yeah,
I don't
speaking
want to
of
touch it.
Andrew has highlighted one of the questions here. What are your favorite community memes? Any you wish the community would give a rest already?
Ooh.
Brackets and highlights, if only Tori was able to answer this.
Ooh, boy. Well, since we have Tori in chat, while we give our answers, she can go ahead and give her answer for which meme she wants to die.
Yeah, what does it mean, Tori? What does Andrew mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I will start off by saying definitely the Kadoki Ash meme.
I mean, the devs kind of dug their own grave with that one.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
yeah. She greatly regrets that.
That's okay. I don't know. We're always going to be like doing things like this or the chill with the devs, showing off new combat footage. Or actually, I bet once you guys get into the game for the first time and start playing in the alpha, somebody's going to break something like right away, and it's going to be all over the place. So
Yep.
I have no doubt that there will be no shortage of new material for people to meme.
I'm kind of expecting it to be Crank that breaks the game first, because he's got a knack for finding bugs in everything he plays.
Hell yeah.
I'm just waiting for one of the rigs to go nuts on the model, and all of a sudden the Kinfolk just flies off the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Long cipher.
I will find that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And is it still set for, I think it was August, the alpha?
Yeah, around then.
Yeah, we've been saying fall.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking at fall for sure.
Yeah, if I can, I'm gonna book the day off work when it comes out if I can.
The day.
Oh man, me too.
Yeah.
If I had vacation weeks left over, I'd take a week off.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the Kickstarter when it finally came out, where
Oh,
it's like,
man.
okay, cool, it's out. I can finally sleep, except I can't because I have to watch everything.
Yeah. I actually got my brother back once the Kickstarter came out. It was nice to,
Yeah.
see him again.
I mean, once you trim past all the beard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one we've actually got here towards Skymill is, sorry if this has been asked before, but will there be a way to gauge how close you are to your kinfolk? A way to know if they don't like you, neutral, or if you finally become friends with them?
Absolutely, yes. There will be, so the way that we measure that stuff or talk about it or whatever is we call them bonds. And so your bond level is something that you'll be able to observe as a stat like anything else. Not to be confused with their other stats like speed or attack or defense, whatever, HP. This is something that you'll be able to see in the settings or the like character info page for that kinfolk, and yeah, it'll go up over time, and you can see even like what benefits you could get for getting them to a certain like bond level.
Oh, neat. I think it'd be nice if it acted. I know someone's mentioned before the original Gen 1 Pokemon Yellow Pikachu, how it would have different reactions when you spoke to it, depending on how close you were.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you know what you do? You leave it at full health, and you can keep spamming one potion on it, and there's a glitch where it still adds to its happiness.
Nice.
So yeah, if it's at full health, the potion will say it had no effect, but it'll actually increase its happiness.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, you do that, and you got a very happy Pikachu in like 5 minutes.
Wow. You just literally buy its happiness. Fantastic.
I mean, judging by Slifer and the way he's set to like steal things, you probably could buy Slifer's happiness.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Just give him a load of stuff.
Yeah.
Unless
So,
he's
is
a
there
different
anything that you
person.
guys in particular are looking forward to with the upcoming alpha, apart from sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really get to sleep because somebody's going to break it immediately.
Yeah, and then we've
Or
got
everyone's going to break it constantly,
yeah.
rather.
QA is gonna have to turn on, and yeah.
I will
Yeah.
not apologize for this.
No, I mean
Yeah.
that's why we're having the alpha is so that people can
Yeah.
test it and break it and tell us what's wrong with it, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. I mean, I know this sounds probably like not the most exciting thing because everyone is like, well, the most exciting thing is going to be that we get to play it. But I'm very excited to see the meta that develops.
Yeah.
It's just a fun thing to observe. Like when we create these characters, we have no idea who's going to be the strongest. Like we have an idea of like, okay, well this move's pretty good. It does a lot of damage and whatever, but until we put these characters in the hands of people who are going to play this game like a lot, it's just really hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we can test stuff, but sorry, what was it?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
No, you're good.
I was just saying, no matter what game it is, there's always that one character.
Yeah. We were definitely going to try to keep things as balanced as we possibly can, and we'll be listening to everybody's feedback on that and what they feel like is too strong, because that's something that's always really frustrating, right? When you're playing a game and there's a character it feels like they're way overtuned, and it's something that the whole community is aware of, but somehow the devs just sort of seem to ignore that. So,
League of Legends, every time a new champ comes out for 2 weeks.
right, yeah.
Oh
I
my
have a
gosh.
theory that that's manufactured.
Oh,
But
oh, I personally think it is. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Same happened with Rainbow Six for the longest time.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, Ella and Lion.
yeah. I remember that. No,
That's
we
not
won't be
fun.
doing that though.
Yeah.
We will genuinely try.
Most OP unit.
We'll genuinely try to keep everything as close to the same power level as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of what the alpha is for, so that as you're releasing these kinfolk and adding to the roster, you can see what's unbalanced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have what, like 3 years to work on how our combat feels.
oh, actually, that's one thing I was gonna ask. Because I've had some people ask me that, and I don't really have the answer. So when the alpha comes out, is that going to be like updated? Like, I know eventually it's going to become the beta, but like, is that going to be something where stuff gets like, is it going to be like an early access kind of?
Um, it'll probably be, I almost want to say somewhere between the two. Like, we'll be updating it with lots of fixes. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be updating it with some new features. How much, it's like kind of hard to say. Um, but it's not really going to be an early access. I guess in my mind, an early access for Kindred Fates would be something more along the lines of giving you like a piece of the world to like explore and run around in and stuff. And we unfortunately can't do that.
Yeah, it
But
makes sense. That's what I figured. I just wanted to like be able to say that with certainty.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll be adding things to it apart from just bug fixes and like balance updates. How much is a little hard to say.
Yeah, definitely. And that's honestly the majority of the questions that we had cleared up now, prepared. So unless there's any more from the chat, Barry
Right.
has asked, going back to what we were talking about earlier with the perfect Koromon, is there going to be a similar system for Kindred Fates where Phantoms will have a better strat set or better viability?
I mean, we
There
might
is
have
now.
to do that now.
Right,
Yeah. Like, that's a good
now that
idea.
you've woken the community up to this
Yeah.
feature.
I mean, we didn't know about it.
Yeah, we just learned about this.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have
I
to.
think it might actually be easier to code because then you don't have to code the separate shiny value.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does consolidate things in a nice way.
Yeah. It would tie in
I
super
don't
easy
know.
with the lore and yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we just list off all the reasons why we have to do it? I don't know, man.
In the cons category, spite.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have like some ideas for things related to that. I think we've talked about some of them already, like how. Well, one of the things we're considering anyway is giving you a way to raise those IVs over like with enough training and time, and some ways that you might be able to do that. So even if you did get a shiny that had like garbage EVs or something, then it wouldn't really be garbage as long as you like spent time with it and like leveled it up and everything else.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd actually be really good.
Yeah, so there's options, but that's a cool system though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, but
definitely.
then we would have people starting off the game with a perfect kinfolk.
If the shiny roll was the
No. The people with the phantom tier.
yeah. Well, so if it was like if we were to use the same system, then yeah, they would be starting off with a perfect shiny.
Gotcha.
But like, is that really so
nah,
bad?
It really wouldn't matter. I just pay to
Yeah.
win, you know.
Especially with the
well.
because of the permadeath, I think it would be nice if such a rare creature had a higher chance at living.
Yeah,
Just slightly better base stats, so it's not going to get one-shotted in the first area.
Yeah.
sure.
But
that makes
even
sense.
the IV thing is pretty cool. Like if you can raise the IVs, that kind of mitigates that whole like shiny that sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly none of none of your kinfolk will permanently suck.
It's nice. Like I said, from day one, I think Skymill has said that they want every kinfolk to be viable. So even the very first starter you play the game with, even if they're just a basic normal kinfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna regret saying that, I'm sure.
No.
Well, that was one thing that when I heard you guys talk about that in the, I think it was the last stream, one of the last couple streams where you were saying like, you know, K-Knight, you could use K-Knight against Auburn, for example, and Auburn, like, it's not like using a Blastoise but against a Squirtle. Like, Squirtle's
Right.
just inferior in every single way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I think that's something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something that we really, really want to keep. And, you know, we're going to try our very, very best to keep them as balanced as we can. We're not so naive as to think that, you know, we're the sole studio that can make a perfectly balanced game, especially with a roster of 159 characters when other games that have, you know, far fewer characters still struggle to balance their rosters. So obviously we're gonna try our best to keep it balanced, but yeah, the goal is that there won't be any. Auburn is not going to be useless. Auburn is going to have his niche that he's really good at. K-Knight's going to have his niche that he's really good at, and
159
hopefully
niches.
everybody should have something that they are like the best in the game at.
Yeah, I know technically Auburn was said to have a light lean, or at least rumored to. So technically he has a sort of advantage against Knight because I believe he was rumored to have a dark lean, but I don't know if that was ever confirmed by the devs.
I never heard about that.
I wasn't sure if it was confirmed by the devs or if it was just a commonly accepted fan theory.
I think probably commonly accepted fan theory.
I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Gotta shake Rob for the answers.
I'll give him the old "you don't know."
Yeah.
So we got another question from the chat. They've asked, in the trailer, the human player gets hit by a salamander and KO'd. Will the human player have a HP bar or hit points and you're out?
Yes. Right now we have a separate health bar for the protagonist and their party members. It's always a little bit tricky to talk about the the player character, because it's like, well, the player is sort of the person holding the controller, and then there's the party members, and then there's that human that's in the game. So like naming things is always a little bit tricky, but that's why we call it the protagonist and party members and
Avatar.
that stuff. Yeah, but they do have their own health bar.
If you guys gave the human character like a kick or something, people would people would start doing human only run.
I already.
Kindred
That's something we've
Fates.
thought about.
Kindred Fates speedrun, no kinfolk.
Yeah, we've thought about like speedruns too, and like as we're kind of planning out how the beginning stages of the game should flow, like making it so that if somebody does want to speedrun the game, it's not going to be a huge pain every time they want to start over.
I think you're a big fan of the fact that you can go after Ganon right away.
Oh yeah,
in
that's
Breath
really
of the
cool.
Wild. Yeah.
Big fan of that, and I think that that fog shouldn't be there. They should just let you fall to your death, and if you're clever enough to figure out how to get off the island before that, then so be it.
Is it actually possible to beat Ganon right away? Because what happens, wouldn't all your items like disintegrate?
You can. It's like a 20-minute speed run of the game.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
You have to
Okay.
beat the first 4 shrines, but as soon as you get the glider, you can go right to Ganon.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you should be able to skip it though. I think you should be able to.
Yeah, like
Because there's some tricks you can do to get down and still survive, but it despawns you anyway because they put this fog down there.
Yeah.
Well, what I was wondering is because like a lot of the weapons they break after a few hits. Like, can you get enough weapons to do enough damage to Ganon to kill him right at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, there's weapons in the castle that people know exactly the locations for.
I'm stupid. Yeah, like I've beaten Breath of the Wild. I just never did it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You should watch one of the speedruns. It's only like 30 minutes.
Yeah, they're pretty insane.
So Chop has asked, is there any plans for controller compatibility for the PC during alpha?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yes, we are planning to support controllers on the alpha release. Hopefully, we will hit that, but that will be one of those things that if we don't manage to get that in right on launch, that like that'll be one of those features that we add in immediately after as
Yeah.
soon as it's ready.
Because we're not holding onto the alpha until like the set checklist is done. You know, as soon as it's like remotely playable, we're going to give it to people. So we're not
Yeah,
gonna like
once it's
wait for all of these different features.
yeah, I mean we have a checklist of like absolutely required
Yeah,
stuff,
to actually
and then
play the arena.
yeah, and then we have like a deadline. And if we're at the point where we're within a couple days of the deadline and we're still missing like some of these like I don't want to call them niceties, but like if we were like at our deadline and we didn't have controller support, we would probably just release it so that people could play it, and then add the controller support in as soon as it was ready.
Will there be a Dark Souls style dodge?
Uh, there is at the moment.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna need to play with a controller then, because I can't even beat the first boss on Dark Souls with a keyboard. But
Yeah.
I've platinumed Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro on my PS4.
Nice.
Wow.
But I can't play with a keyboard.
Wow, platinuming Sekiro, that's a trial right there.
You have to get to like NG plus. You have to beat NG plus 3, I think.
Yeah.
You basically have to beat the game 4 times. It's one of those games where if you play Dark Souls first, you when you first start playing, you just get like destroyed because like the dodges work differently and stuff. But once you say to yourself it's not Dark Souls, it's not that bad.
Cool. Yeah.
Any more
Yeah, so
questions?
there'll be probably a dodge like that. At the moment, it's something that all characters have access to. But we're looking at a couple other. We have a couple things we want to try out, and as always, we'll go with whatever ends up feeling best and get feedback.
Which
Someone just asked if it would be compatible with the steering wheel.
yes,
Oh yeah,
and the Guitar Hero guitar, and the Rock Band
That's-
drums actually.
I mean, I feel like that's a given. That's why the
Yeah.
controller support's gonna take so long. Is we have to get all these other controllers out first.
Yep, for it to-
DK's bongos.
oh my gosh, do we still have our DK bongos, Robbie?
Yes, we do.
Oh boy.
Oh man, if we could get the original Nintendo Wii controller, just have the human actually boxing with an ember.
Yeah. I'm gonna use Rob as a controller.
Easy bake oven. You use that as a
Yeah.
controller.
I think we're coming about to the end of things now, but is there anything that Ed or Skymill wanted to add before we wrap up?
I'll leave it to you, Ed. Is there anything you want to ask?
Yeah. I just wanted to say like thanks for having me. Like being a part of this community has been great. Like I didn't expect when I first started making videos of the game of any of the games that I talk about, but especially like Kindred Fates, I never expected to be like contacted and to like end up here. Like this is insane. Like I just want to say thank you.
Well, you don't
Of
make it
course.
easy to contact you. I'll just
No, it's our pleasure.
Yeah.
We really enjoy spending time with everybody in the community and getting people's thoughts on it. And you make it easy for us. You make awesome content
you do.
Thank
that we always look forward to.
Yeah, the only
Don't
one
feel-
that I know that makes regular content. So,
Yeah.
Speaking of your regular content, you sent me a little something yesterday. Would you like to show that off?
Oh yeah, I promised people that I'd show what tomorrow's video was going to be based off of because I thought like it would be particularly more entertaining than usual.
Ooh. Okay. So you want me to go ahead and throw that up on the screen? Just slap
Yeah,
that up there.
We got the thumbnail.
Okay.
Oh, nice. I wonder if this has anything to do with the scarecrow
I'll just
that happened
go
recently.
ahead and... Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, we're gone. Bye, guys.
Bye, Charlie. So Ed, would you like to go ahead and speculate on your speculation?
So basically, I think, and again, like obviously, I could be wrong, and I think this is going to be one of the more. I think this video we'll see how it ages, depending like a lot sooner than other videos. Like my lore video might age badly, but we won't know for like 3 years. But this one, this one will know pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think I have a decent theory as to. I think I have pretty solid evidence for the first like 4 or so that will end up in the demo, and then as we move further towards the sort of 5 to 9 goal that you guys mentioned in the Discord, it gets a little more speculative.
Yeah. I feel like there's a few of them that are pretty obvious, but yeah.
Yeah, like there's definitely a few that I could pretty much say like without a doubt are going to end up in it, but then there's a few more that it's like, here's the evidence why and here's why not.
Yeah.
Sort of like what could happen, especially the last one. The last one I go on the last one because I use this sort of 5 to 9 as a base. So like when it comes to like the 9th potential one, there's a lot of speculation there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for it.
I am too.
Okay, so I've got to ask before we go, because I know that the community will have my neck for it if I don't. Is there anything we can pry out of you, Rob, about anything up and coming that we can expect?
Well, anytime that I am around the Discord, I will say I have a tendency to lurk and just post anything that happens to be relevant to conversation. So if anybody was around for the
KF memes, is it?
well, there was that too. But I don't know. There was a bit of a happening in the general chat the other day.
You can already hear the Discord rushing through to search for all of Rob's messages now.
Yeah. So I would expect things like that to keep occurring. I just can't help myself. It's fun.
Yeah, it's way too fun.
Yeah. From what we're working on right now, I do really mean the last 2 days have been really, really good for us. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about that in the next community update a little more in depth. Either that, or as Andrew mentioned earlier, we'd really like to get John and Sheila on here. And
those are our two big developers.
Yeah. I think they would actually do the topic a little more justice than what I feel like I could, because they're really in the trenches with that stuff. So look forward to that.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next update, guys.
Yeah.
So we've had another one. We've got to ask every guest that comes through here, Ed, what's your favorite pretzel dip?
I actually just responded to that in the comments. I thought, honey mustard's pretty good.
Honey mustard is pretty good.
Honey mustard or like a dill pickle dip wouldn't be bad.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a new one.
Yeah. What did Mayu say? Did Mayu say something different? I feel like that was.
I think Mayu said mustard.
It must have been. Must have been Kayla.
Someone needs to start keeping track of all the pretzel orders.
Yeah, can someone make a spreadsheet of that for me?
Barry Bandit's disappointed in me.
I've definitely crossed over into like the beer cheese camp.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, it's been fabulous again, guys. Again, thank you, Rob and Andrew, for the opportunity, and thank you, Ed, for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be nice to do something like this again. Get the YouTubers involved.
Oh yeah. We got to see what King Size Homer's up to.
I've been waiting for King Size Homer. He can take his time. No rush.
Awaiting the return.
Waiting.
The original pretzel priest.
Yeah.
Definitely. So thank you very much again for today, guys. We'll let you get back to it and wrap up the stream here, but hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See
Thanks,
you guys.
everyone.
All right,
see you guys.
Hey, everyone.